The financial crisis taught us that a $700 trillion market for complex financial instruments known as swaps, entirely unregulated, had to be reined in. The man put in charge of this task is Gary Gensler, tapped by President Obama to lead a heretofore sleepy regulatory agency known as the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. As chairman, what is the most important thing that you hope to accomplish and that your successor will need to accomplish?
Well, I think that markets work best when they're open to anybody who wants to compete in them, where they're transparent. That means that buyers and sellers see the prices, and if you want to invest in it, you can see where a transaction happens. I think that's where it works best. This swaps market, this vast market of financial contracts called swaps, didn't have that. And I think that's what the CFTC was tasked to do after the financial crisis. That's what we're doing, but there's still more work to be done to bring those common sense reforms to the swaps market.
What else needs to be done?
Well, we've completed, believe it or not, about 40 rules. Congress gave us about 55 to do, so just arithmetic, we have about 10 or 15 to go. Part of that is how the rules apply to transactions that are entered into across the ocean or across a border. Part of it is related to how buyers and sellers can meet in a market and see the prices, their bids and offers. Those are two of the big things we have outstanding.
What are your biggest obstacles? Is it your budget? Is it bankers who don't want you to regulate them? Is it both?
Well, part of it, it's the task that Congress gave us. These are large, vast markets. They're very consequential, and they're complex. So it's sorting through, for instance, 40,000 comment letters, and these comment letters are sometimes hundreds of pages, sometimes 10 pages. It's sorting through those and complying with the law, doing something called cost and benefit analyses. It sounds very bureaucratic, but it takes time.
What is a swap, and why do most Americans need to know what it is, even though they don't?
Well, I don't know that most Americans need to know, but it's a financial contract that helps somebody lock in a price or a rate. It really started in the 1860s when farmers growing corn, wheat, wanted to lock in the price of their corn or wheat at harvest time and have somebody else commit to that price who was a speculator. Now those contracts were called futures, but in the 1980s something new called swaps, which almost identical to it, but a swap was invented in the 1980s, which was not regulated, and futures were regulated since the 1930s. Why do we need to know about it? It was part of the financial crisis. It's part of what brought down a company called AIG and nearly brought down our economy.
Now, swaps are going to be more closely regulated. They're going to be more transparent. They're going to be centrally cleared on an exchange, many of them. But you don't believe that all of them should be. Why not?
Well, that's correct, because some of these contracts between two parties are still so customized. It could be an airline that wants to lock in the price of jet fuel at a particular airport in Kansas for a particular month, for a particular volume. Nobody else wants that jet fuel in Kansas that month, but they want to lock in that price. Back to my analogy to the farmer with corn. So some of those truly would just be what's called bilateral. But probably 70 or 80% of the market is really standardized and could benefit from central exchanges.
You are part of a long history of a revolving door between Washington and Wall Street. Nonetheless, you have been given a lot of credit, despite having worked at Goldman Sachs, as being a tough regulator. What is the challenge that our society faces in this revolving door?
Well, I'm honored to have served this president, President Obama, and having served prior for President Clinton. But I'm also honored to have been on Wall Street, as you mentioned, for 18 years at Goldman Sachs. I think that it's important that presidents get to pick their team and bring people in from academia, from whether it's Wall Street, whether it's the auto industry, the drug industry, people that have experiences in commerce. The challenge is recognizing you have a different job. At this point, I have a different job. It's a job to promote the laws as Congress had passed it and to work for the public. I had a different job when I was on Wall Street. It was about revenues, it was about profits, it was about customers.